She stood in her wedding dress, unaware her life was about to shatter in front of everyone. The bells were ringing, the guests were smiling, but behind closed doors, the bride was already in tears. The groom's family didn't want her, but today, they would humiliate her in a way she would never forget. She was ready to say, "I do," but all she heard were the cruel words, "Someone like you doesn't belong here." The moment she walked into the church, she felt every eye on her, not with love, but silent judgment. She came for a fairy tale wedding. Instead, she received the most heartbreaking betrayal of her life. A special day turned into a disaster, and nobody tried to stop it, not even the man she was marrying. The bride wasn't crying because she was weak. She was crying because the world refused to understand her. Everyone waited for the wedding to begin, but the groom was about to do something unforgivable. Her fiancé had promised her forever, but in just a few minutes, he would destroy every dream she ever had. She ran out of the church in tears, never expecting a stranger across the street had seen everything. While the world judged her, one single dad quietly put down his work and stepped forward. At a small food truck outside the church, a father and his little daughter watched the bride break. She thought no one in the world cared, until a man who understood her pain began walking toward her. The wedding had rejected her, but destiny was waiting just a few steps away. She wasn't looking for help, but help found her, a single dad who saw the truth everyone else ignored. One man saw not a failed bride, but a woman whose heart had been shattered. While everyone stayed silent, a man who had lived through pain decided to speak, without words. Her tears caught the attention of someone who knew exactly how cruelty feels. She expected more humiliation, but instead, a stranger signed the first kind words she'd heard all day. For the first time that day, someone didn't pity her. He defended her. She expected silence, but his hands spoke the words her heart needed to hear. Instead of telling her to move on, he told her something nobody ever had. His message wasn't loud, but it hit harder than any insult she had heard. She had heard a lifetime of rejection, until this man signed 3 words that changed everything. She wasn't used to being protected, but today a stranger became her shield. Her world had fallen apart, but this man showed her she wasn't broken. No flowers, no church, no vows, just a single dad reminding her of her worth. Everyone else saw a rejected bride. He saw a woman who deserved more. Her heart trembled when he signed the words she never expected. "You deserve better." Just when she thought life was finally getting better, the past showed up in front of her. The food truck was closing, but a luxury car was about to reopen old wounds. She had finally found peace, until the man who broke her heart returned. She wasn't prepared to face them again, but destiny didn't ask permission. The mother who ruined her wedding walked in with the same cruel smile. She had grown stronger, but today she would be tested like never before. One moment she was laughing with friends, the next, her ex-fiancé was standing inches away. She no longer needed their approval, but they were here to demand her attention. The people who threw her away were back, and they still believed she was nothing. They expected her to beg, but she wasn't the same woman they left at the altar. She once stood shattered in a wedding dress. Now she was about to step into a new life. The story that began in tears was finally ending in strength. She had been abandoned at the altar, but today she wasn't standing alone. The world that once rejected her would now watch her rise. She lost everything in one moment, but gained more than she ever dreamed. This wasn't a new chapter, it was a completely new beginning. She no longer needed someone to choose her, she chose herself. What was once pain had turned into purpose. She didn't just rebuild her heart, she built a life where everyone had a voice. The girl they thought would never speak now spoke louder than ever, even without words. She never expected life to give her more, but fate still had one surprise left. The story could have ended there, but destiny had one final chapter written for her. Just when she thought her new life was complete, something happened that changed everything again. She had rebuilt her heart, but now the world would see what she was truly capable of. The girl who once cried in silence was about to make the world listen. She didn't just survive her past, She was about to conquer her future. A new opportunity walked into her life when she least expected it. What started as heartbreak was about to become a legacy. This time, she wouldn't just find happiness, she would create it for others too. Her journey didn't end with love, it was only the beginning of her impact. Section 7. She turned pain into purpose. 10-minute scene. Ava stood in the warm glow of the diner's lights, wiping down tables as the last customers left. The once tiny food truck had become a bustling community hub. Families laughed, friends signed across tables, and even hearing customers had begun learning basic sign language just to be part of the warmth. It wasn't just a business, it was a movement. Michael appeared from the kitchen, placing a fresh, help wanted, deaf applicants welcome sign on the counter. Ava looked at him curiously. He shrugged with a smile and signed. People treated you like you were limited. Let's build a place that proves otherwise. Ava's heart swelled. All her life, she had been told she didn't belong. Now she was creating a world where nobody else would feel that way again. A new visitor. The bell at the door jingled, and in walked a young woman in her 20s, nervous and shy. She hesitated before approaching Ava. Slowly, she signed. Do you hire deaf people? Ava smiled. We don't just hire deaf people. We welcome them. The woman burst into tears, not out of sadness, but relief. She confessed that she had been rejected from 7 job interviews because no one wanted a deaf employee. Ava placed a hand on hers and signed with conviction. If the world won't give you a place, we will. Michael watched from a distance, a proud warmth in his eyes. Ava wasn't just healing anymore, she was empowering others. A growing family. Over the next few weeks, the diner transformed. Deaf employees joined the team. Customers learned to point to items, gesture, smile, and communicate however they could. People weren't just ordering food, they were learning to understand one another. Michael's daughter Lily was now the star of the place. She helped new workers learn the basics and signed encouragement to nervous customers trying to communicate for the first time. Ava often watched her with a bittersweet smile. She saw a future where Lily would grow into a world kinder than the one she had known. A bigger dream. One night, as Ava balanced receipts, Michael spoke softly. Have you ever thought bigger? Ava raised an eyebrow. He continued. What if this wasn't the only place? What if there were more diners like this? Across the city, across the country. Ava's breath caught. She had never dared to dream so large. But looking around, smiles, laughter, signing hands, lives changing, she realized something. She wasn't the silent girl waiting for permission anymore. She was a leader. She nodded slowly. Let's do it. The world takes notice. A local reporter came to write a story about the diner. Then another. Soon videos of the diner went viral. Customers signing their orders, workers finding respect, and a once silent bride now inspiring thousands. Messages flooded in. My daughter is deaf. I wish we had a place like this. I never knew sign language could be so beautiful. Thank you for showing us that disability doesn't mean inability. Ava read every single one, tears streaming down her face. Her pain had not been wasted. It had become fuel. A full circle. One evening, as the sun set in golden light, a familiar luxury car pulled up outside. Ava froze. It was Ethan and his mother. They walked in, the same arrogance in their stride. But this time, the world around them was different. They saw the packed diner, the smiling faces, the employees signing confidently, the newspaper articles framed on the wall. Mrs. Kingston sneered. Impressive how quickly you ran to something simple. Ava didn't flinch. Instead, she signed calmly. Simple doesn't mean small. It means honest. Ethan opened his mouth as if to apologize, but before he could, one of the employees stepped forward, signing. We don't serve people who belittle us. The customers watched in silence. Michael placed a gentle hand on Ava's back and signed. You choose how this ends. Ava looked her past in the eyes and signed just 4 words. I already moved on. Ethan lowered his head. His mother clicked her tongue. And they left, rejecting the door as they had once rejected her. Only this time, Ava didn't crumble. She stood taller. Her future begins. Later that night, Michael locked up the diner while Ava sat outside, staring at the sky. She thought of the girl she once was. A bride crying alone in a white dress. A woman told she wasn't worthy. A voice the world refused to hear. Now she had a business, a mission, a family, and a future brighter than anything she had imagined. Michael sat beside her and sighed. If you could speak to the old you, what would you tell her? Ava smiled, eyes glistening. She signed slowly. Don't let rejection silence you. It will eventually teach you to speak louder. In a quiet night, those words felt like music. Ava had not just found love. She had found purpose. And through her, thousands of others would, too. This was no longer a story about a broken bride. It was the story of a woman who turned silence into power and built a world where everyone finally had a voice.